Hi friends, welcome to my channel Renu's Chat and Talk. If you are new, please do subscribe to my channel, like, comment and share my videos with your friends and family. Today we do three modal verbs which are different from the previous modal verbs. How? Because in these modal verbs we add to after this. Okay, whereas can after to we never used, or will after, would after, should after. No, we did directly in all those modal verbs, isn't it? May, might, can, could, will, shall, or would, should, must. In all those cases, only those auxiliary verbs and plus V1 directly we used, isn't it? Whereas in these three modal verbs, we use to. Immediately after this word, we use to. After this again, V1. Okay? Ought to, used to, need to. Okay, those three modal verbs we discussed today. First one, ought to. Ought to, actually in spoken English we don't use this. People usually they don't use this ought to. They use instead of ought to only should. They feel it's an equivalent word, so they use only should. But whereas grammatically we have to learn separately as to. But most of these come under that modal verb also. In we have come across all these things. So we just see how do we use this ought to. But in spoken, mostly ought to nobody uses. But grammatically, we have to discuss about how do we use ought to. It talks about duty and obligation only, just like in should also we said so, obligation and duty, and even must also obligation and duty. Whereas it's actually compulsory, strong, very strong and more emphatic. Whereas this is not that compulsory, but it is actually more formal and more ethical than should. Okay, it is more formal and more ethical. I can say more strong than should. Okay, it's not the forceful. It's not just like must. It's not forceful, but it is more formal, more ethical, and stronger than should. Okay, but it also talks about duty and obligation. We ought to obey our parents. We ought to respect our parents. We ought to obey them. Okay, and we ought to respect women also. We ought to be very punctual to the class. We ought to be punctual or regular to the class. Okay, and you ought to love your children. You ought to love your children. Okay, you ought to look after your aged parents. See, in all these cases, or plus 2 plus V1, isn't it? It's immediately followed by 2, and after 2, you are using V1. And you ought to help the poor. You should help the poor. You must help the poor. The rich should help the poor. And now here it is another version. You ought to help the poor. It is your duty to help the poor. In that situations, in such cases, we use, or it is our duty to follow all these things. Okay. It is our duty to follow all these. Should also we talk about traffic rules. You should follow all those traffic rules, isn't it? But there you say whether it do's and don'ts, isn't it? You have to do this and you should not do this. Like the do's and don'ts, it talks about. Whereas it talks about what is right and what is correct, and it is your duty to follow them. Like that, ought to talks about. And in this also, negative is also there. Just continue. Next. So just like other modal verbs, any modal verb plus have plus V3, isn't it? Similarly, ought to plus have plus V3 also talks about unfulfilled obligation. It talks about unfulfilled obligation, and it also talks about past only, but the past, such things did not take place, such things did not happen. In such situations, we use ought to plus have plus V3. You ought to have consulted your parents in this matter. You ought to have consulted them, but you did not do that. Okay, you ought to have consulted your parents. If you did that, then this thing would not have happened. That is the reason. You ought to have consulted your parents, but you did not consult them. You ought to have advised your son, isn't it? But you did not advise your son. Because of that reason, today it happened so. So that is the reason. You ought to have helped them when they needed. You ought to have helped them, but you did not help them. That's why they were in this condition. So in such cases also we use ought to plus have plus V3, and it also talks about past and unfulfilled obligation. This it, these things did not happen. In such cases we just talk about them. You ought to have consulted, you ought to have advised, and you ought to have helped them. Okay. Next one, used to. Next we do used to. Second modal verb. Next modal verb, used to. When do we use this used to? The, by this word only you can understand it's talking about past, isn't it? Used. Use, simple present, and used is past. And what does it talk about? Used to talk about past habits. It talks about past habits, the habits which you had in the past. It talks about such things, or repeated actions also. It talks about past habits and repeated actions. I used to fight with my brother. I used to fight with my brother. Now I don't. I don't fight with my brother, but I used to fight with my brother. That was a past habit. Okay. She used to be very naughty in the past. She used to be very naughty, and we used to play cricket uh, daily at school. We used to play cricket daily at school. That was long when we were in school. We used to play cricket, we used to play marbles, we used to fly kites. That all we used to do in the past. Okay. They used to live in Mumbai. They used to live in Mumbai, but now they are not in Mumbai. They are in Chennai. So they used to live in Mumbai once. In the past, they were in Mumbai. Okay. He used to drive very fast, very rashly. He used to drive, but now he's not. He does not do that. But he used to do that. But now he does not do that. The things happened in the past, but now they don't. That is the thing. This used to express that. I used to go to a library regularly. At that time, I used to go to library regularly. We used to go to Hyderabad during summer vacation. We used to go to Hyderabad at that time in the past. So it used to is a modal verb which talks about past habits, the things which happened in the past, but now they don't take place. So in such cases we use. The last one, need to. So last modal verb, need to. Need to talks about necessity and important at some point of time. One point of time. Important at one point of time. At that time it is important, but not always. At that time it is necessary. Okay. Suppose for example somebody is in hospital, your relatives, somebody is in hospital. Okay. Then you have to go and attend, look after him. Okay. Then I need to go to hospital. That means you daily you need not go to the hospital, isn't it? Daily it is not necessary. Only because you are somebody is in hospital, somebody is hospitalized, then only you need to go to hospital. Otherwise, daily what do you do going to hospital? It's not necessary at all. Go to hospital, isn't it? That's not our work at all. So only somebody is in hospital, your relative is there in the hospital, then you need to attend, you need to look after something, or you need to carry the food back and something you have to do. then in such cases I need to go to hospital. In such cases only you use need to. Okay, the thing which is necessity at that particular point of time, not always, at one point of time. Okay, and these classes, so you need to attend these classes regularly. But attending these classes in like after some age, only at that particular age only we attend the classes, isn't it? Not regular. Later life it is not at all, attending the classes not required. So you need to attend these classes now regularly. If you attend, you will get something, some benefit you will get. So it is necessary that you attend these classes. So these sentences they talk about that it is necessary to do these things. So with the things which you are to do at one particular point of time, that time only those things are necessary, but not always not required. And all the people need not attend the classes. Only for certain age group only, the students only it is required. So you need to attend these classes regularly. Okay, and you need to pass a driving test before taking license, and you need, it is necessary for you to get through this driving test. You need to pass a driving test to get your license, isn't it? So I need to go to hospital, I need to attend the function because my parents are not attending, they have some other work. So on behalf of my parents, I need to attend the function. Otherwise, if my parents go, I did not go. So, but they have some other work, so they are not attending that function. So I need to go. In that case, we use it is necessary for me to attend the function. Like that, meeting also we need to attend the meeting because most of other employees, most of them are on leave. So we all need to attend the meeting. Okay, it is necessary, it is necessary for us to attend the meeting in such cases only. And this is also followed by two, and it talks about necessary. And like this, whenever the things are necessary, in such situations only, in situations where you have to attend all those situation, in such cases where necessity is there, we use need to. I need to, in such situations only we use need to. So necessity, it talks about necessity and important only at that particular point of time, but not always. So so we talked about all the modal verbs starting from can, could, may, might, should, must, would, will, shall, and today ought to, used to, and need to. Then we do next video, we do one exercise based on using all the modal verbs. One exercise we do, then you can understand in a better way the complete. You get a complete picture of modal verbs. And these all these modal verb videos are useful for those who are actually for all the high school students. And from examination point of view, and normally for their textual grammar point of view also, these modal verbs are important. And those who are appearing for competitive examinations also are important. And those who want to attend some spoken English classes also, these videos are very useful modal verbs. Thank you for watching my videos.